Hi, I'm Sean Prasad.
I'm Sinead Prasad. We are here to talk about Headless, which is our new series that we are crowdfunding, that we are still crowdfunding on Kickstarter. Headless is a 10-episode series that is a modern-day comedy, mostly comedy adaptation of Washington Irving's tale, Sleepy Hollow. The legend of Sleepy Hollow. We know things. Y'all know Sleepy Hollow goes like this. Ichabod, school teacher, comes to town, is told stories, meets Cat Van Tassel, and then
gets spooked.
Spooked. He's a very scared little man. Our Ichabod will have some of those traits, but he's gonna be, I hope, a lot more likable than the animated version, or I miss the Johnny Depp version. He was
Not
really likable,
as flexible as the animated version.
Oh my goodness. Or as hungry. Anyway, Ichabod Crane, in our version, is going to come to Sleepy Hollow. He is a science teacher, and he's gonna have a run-in with the Headless Horseman. A run-in that I guess goes well because they become roommates.
Mm-hmm. Although I've had some bad roommates in my life.
That's true.
I've had some scary roommates.
Yeah, oh my gosh. Same.
So I haven't had any headless roommates.
That's good. You might be in jail.
In our version of Sleepy Hollow, Ichabod and his friends figure out a way to put other heads on the Headless Horseman, and hopefully these people will help them find where the horseman's head is at so that the horseman can finally move on.
A story about friendship, spooky things, bats, babes.
Bats?
Bats. No, I don't know, it could be bats. Probably bats in Sleepy Hollow.
I don't know if we have the budget for bats.
What are you most excited for?
That changes every day. I'm pretty excited for Brom and Brom's babes.
Yeah. I also laugh a lot when we're writing Verla dialogue. She's pretty great.
Yeah.
But then everybody, I think, is going to have a moment to shine in this. We've got some really funny characters. And even characters that we thought were going to be small in the beginning have taken on a life of their own. I used to write a lot of Sleepy Hollow fan fiction as a young child. Not as a young child, probably as like a 13 or 14-year-old. So I've been
an old child.
An old child.
Right.
When are you done being a child? 12? Anyway, so I wrote a lot of fan fiction. I was always pretty into Sleepy Hollow, probably because of the Tim Burton version. I think I watched the Disney version maybe once, and I read the short story. I thought it was really funny to have like the Headless Horseman be a comedic character. And I remember we were just watching videos of this the other day. Sean and I did the Brooklyn Nine-Nine immersive experience in San Diego a couple years ago with the Tin Can Brothers, and we had a half day. And we went out to Coronado Beach and kind of like did some Veronica Mars sightseeing, and then we went to Coronado and just sat on the terrace at the Coronado Hotel, which is very haunted, by the way.
Not the terrace. The terrace was beautiful and sunny, and it was just the perfect beach day. It's hard to imagine that place being haunted.
Yeah, I know. It's beautiful, and everything is like crisp and clean, and the lobby was kind of spooky. And so we got margaritas or something like that, and we just
jalapeno vodka they had.
And we just sat and brainstormed what our next show could be, and this had been percolating a little bit, and we sort of started to form the characters, and they came to life, and we kind of got the gist of the entire show that day. Yeah, I know the words.
This is a reggae cover of a Sugar Ray song, so I'm in paradise, basically.
It started out a lot simpler. It started out as a series of vignettes, sort of like a sitcom. What if Ichabod and the Headless Horseman were roommates?
Yeah, just sort of like 2 scenes, like maybe one in the apartment and one at the bowling alley.
It's like Ichabod thinks the Headless Horseman used his toothbrush, and the horseman's like, I can't. I don't. That kind of stuff. And now it's turned into this huge town, this like complex interweaving mysteries.
I don't know how that happened.
I mean, we got there by the end of that day. We kept throwing out like, oh, wouldn't it be fun if this, what if this happened? And then it turned into, okay, this is gonna be a thing.
Yeah. I honestly don't know what the show would have looked like if we had kickstarted last March. We certainly would have finished it. It would have been something, but I'm sure certain characters wouldn't be there. We wouldn't have gotten ideas for certain people, for casting for certain people. And yeah, I don't know, I don't know if it was, I know it was good because we came up with so much stuff, and now we have like a full-length pilot version that could be like, I don't want to say a real show because this isn't going to be a real show, but like a longer version of this show, and we're brimming with ideas for characters for Sleepy Hollow.
Yeah. It's heartbreaking that we can't do some of the stuff we want to do. And that we have to keep thinking like, okay, well one day when this is like on Netflix or something, we can see all of these other ideas come to life. And part of me wants to just tell everybody what they are and just be like, wouldn't this be so cool? Anyways, here's our show.
One day we should publish our scratch document. We have like 3 of them now.
I think that Headless represents a very clear leveling up of Shipwrecked and all the things we do, what we're about. This feels like a proper follow-up to Poe Party because it's a big undertaking. It's long-form storytelling. It's back into sort of literary roots, and it's a big cast of characters and some fun mysteries, and it feels very familiar in one way, just in like a cozy way, but it also feels like very new and very fresh and very fun. I
am so excited to do Headless. It is pretty much, I don't want to say we had a lot of problems writing it, but we did. We had a lot of starts and stops, but I think that has been really good for it, and we've really figured out what all the characters want and arcs, and I just think that's a lot of something that is going to make this story really stand out from a lot of other stories, and it's just a web series, but we just really try to like push the boundaries of what you can do on the internet with a ridiculously small amount of money, and maybe we shouldn't be doing that, but we're going to, and it's gonna happen, and I think that's what we do here at Shipwrecked, and I know it's not what we want to do forever, make things on small budgets with 1 million people, but for now that's what it is, and I think that's what's gonna eventually set us apart from other people, and one day we will be able to make our big show with lots of money. And yeah.
Since Poe Party, almost all of our writing has been pilots and pitches and
sketches.
Yeah,
jokes
sketches
for late night shows.
A lot of here's a pilot, and then here's how the first season would play out, and then maybe like 3 or 4 seasons. We've written a lot of things with a lot of branches and a lot of threads, and then this is the first time in a long time where we've had to wrangle those threads and like tie them up at the end, and it's so hard.
It's very hard. Maybe next time we don't write a mystery. We just write a nice thing, a love story where people are happy and cute.
Everybody knows who did the murder. It's fine.
Yep. I think Sean and I have learned that we are outliners for sure. We just need to have every beat of the story written out, otherwise we kind of get stuck. There were a couple episodes in Headless where we were just like, well, and then we have a big idea and we'll finish that later. And then we didn't. And we're still working out the kinks of some of those. They're gonna be really funny and fun, but we do leave a lot of the hard parts for later, and it's really hard for us to not do that.
Yeah.
With Headless, we're trying to like place seeds throughout so that you can solve mysteries or like follow along a certain character's arc, as you were saying, and that's been pretty fun to go back in and be like, oh, we have like the time, this whole pandemic, to go back and be like, we should introduce something here that will make sense later. Not even with mysteries, just so that everything tracks.
We're better. We're very better.
Be writing.
We're very better at writing.
Yeah.
We do it good now.
And the words easily
and before also, but not as now.
I really, really believe in this idea. I think it's really fun, and I think there's something in it for almost everyone. I'm sure there's people out there who will be like, this is dumb, but
I love heads, though. I like the heads when they're on people.
With heads, how dare they? This is blasphemy. But I really, every time I go back and visit the script, I'm just like, oh my gosh, this has the potential to just be so fun.
Go to Kickstarter.
Right.
Go back. Go back Headless on Kickstarter. It ends.
It ends. You can back Headless on Kickstarter until July 18th.
At 7 p.m.
Yeah.
Pacific.
We hope to see you in Sleepy Hollow.